Pullman was an early American civil aviator. She was the first African-American woman to hold a pilot license. She earned her license in France. She was the earliest known Black person to earn an international pilot's license. Harriet Tubman was an American abolitionist and social activist. After escaping slavery, Tubman made plans to rescue enslaved people, including her family and friends, using the network of anti-slavery activists and safe houses known collectively as the Underground Railroad. She served as an armed scout and spy for the Union Army during the American Civil War. Jackie Robinson was an American professional baseball player who became the first African-American to play in Major League Baseball in the modern era. Robinson broke the color line when he started at first base for the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1947. Barack Obama is an American politician who served as the 44th President of the United States from 2009 to 2017. A member of the Democratic Party, he was the first African-American president in U.S. history. Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune was an American educator, philanthropist, humanitarian, and civil rights activist. She founded the National Council of Negro Women in 1935 and presided as president or leader for many African-American women's organizations. She is well known for starting a private school for African-American students in Daytona Beach that is now known as Bethune-Cookman University. Shirley Chisholm was an American politician who, in 1968, became the first Black woman to be elected to the United States Congress. She also became the first Black candidate for a major party nomination for President of the United States and the first woman to run for the Democratic Party's presidential nomination. Tina Turner, born Anna Mae Bullock, was an American-born singer, songwriter, and actress, known as the Queen of Rock and Roll. Malcolm X was an American Muslim minister and human rights activist who was a prominent figure during the civil rights movement. Maya Angelou was an American memoirist, poet, dancer, and civil rights activist. She published 7 autobiographies, 3 books of essays, several books of poetry, and is credited with a list of plays, movies, and television shows spanning over 50 years. Frederick Douglass, born Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey, was an American social reformer, abolitionist, orator, writer, and statesman. He became the most important leader of the movement for African American civil rights in the 19th century. Creola Katherine Johnson was an American mathematician whose calculations of orbital mechanics as a NASA employee were critical to the success of the first and subsequent U.S. crewed space flights. She is recognized for her historical role as one of the first African-American women to work as a NASA scientist. However, her first jobs were found in teaching. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was an American Christian minister, activist, and political philosopher who was one of the most prominent leaders in the civil rights movement from 1955 until his assassination in 1968. He advanced civil rights for people of color in the United States through the use of nonviolent resistance and nonviolent civil disobedience against Jim Crow laws and other forms of discrimination in the United States. Nelson Mandela was a South African anti-apartheid activist and politician who served as the first president of South Africa from 1994 to 1999. He was the country's first black head of state and the first elected in a fully representative democratic election. His government focused on dismantling the legacy of apartheid by fostering racial reconciliation. Dr. Mae Jemison is an American engineer, physician, and former NASA astronaut. She became the first African-American woman to travel into space when she served as a mission specialist aboard the Space Shuttle Endeavour in 1992. She ended up graduating from Stanford University with degrees in chemical engineering as well as African and African-American studies. She then earned her medical degree from Cornell University before joining NASA. George Washington Carver was an American agricultural scientist and inventor who promoted alternative crops to cotton and methods to prevent soil depletion. He was one of the most prominent black scientists of the early 20th century. Madam C.J. Walker, born Sarah Breedlove, was an African-American entrepreneur, philanthropist, and political and social activist. She is recorded as the first female self-made millionaire in America. She made her fortune by developing and marketing a line of cosmetics and hair care products for Black women. Josephine Baker was an American-born French dancer, singer, and actress. Her career centered primarily in Europe, mostly in France. She was the first Black woman to star in a major motion picture in 1927. Baker supported the American Civil Rights Movement and also worked with the NAACP.